观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看《洋厨房卖家秀买家秀》，我是刘烨。都说呢，生命在于运动。在闲暇的时间呢，很多人都喜欢运动，锻炼身体，比如说跑步啊、打羽毛球、游泳等等。那么在运动之后，你知道该吃些什么来补充能量呢？今天我们的卖家秀啊，就要为大家介绍一下运动之后补充能量的美食。
All right, here we go.
Nick and I are bringing bowling to the farm. He's building our very own lane in the shop.
Oh, cool!
And I'm making some party favorites for our friends to enjoy. My super cheesy sweet potato waffle fry nachos, the sloppiestly good sloppy joes you've ever seen, snap pea and popcorn salad that's a Midwest favorite, and for dessert, coconut cake mini bowling balls that everyone will go nuts for. We'll eat, play, and have a blast.
Oh yeah, holy cow. Hey, this is me, Molly A. This is my husband, Nick.
This is our new addition.
And this is our home, our farm on the North Dakota-Minnesota border. The place where I eat, sleep, and breathe food. Hello, little dumplings.
We love bowling, so Nick is building our own little lane right in the shop, and we're inviting our friends over to rock and roll. I'm making my coconut cake balls, which are so moist and made with the coconuttiest cake in all the land. To get started, I'm gonna combine my dry ingredients for the cake. In my bowl, I'm gonna add 1 cup of sugar, 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, and 1/2 cup of cake flour, which is gonna add a lighter texture to the cake. And if you don't have cake flour, you can just use more all-purpose flour. Totally fine. And 3/4 of a teaspoon each of baking powder, baking soda, and kosher salt. So this cake is inspired by the birthday cake that my sister would always get growing up. We'd go to the same restaurant every year, and they had what they called a luau cake because it was a Hawaiian restaurant, and it kind of whisks me away to someplace more tropical when it's so cold outside. My dry ingredients are combined. Now I'll mix up the wet ingredients. In my big measuring cup here, I'm gonna add 1 cup of full-fat coconut milk. And I want my coconut milk to be at room temperature. I don't want it to be cold because I'm gonna add 1/4 cup of coconut oil, and if it gets too cold, it'll firm back up. I'll add 1 large egg. Next, I'll grab my extracts and a lemon. I've got vanilla extract, which is gonna add more depth of flavor. I'll add 1 teaspoon of that, 1/2 teaspoon of coconut extract. And lastly, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and that's gonna react with the baking soda in the dry mixture to make this cake extra fluffy. And I'll whisk this to combine. And now I'll whisk the wet ingredients right into the dry ingredients. So Nick's grandma Marie, who used to live in this house, was this all-star bowler in town. She would bowl multiple nights a week. So it's only natural that Nick built his own bowling alley so that he can practice and become as fierce of a bowler as she was. Batter's looking good. I have an 8-inch round cake pan here that's been greased and lined on the bottom with parchment so that the cake doesn't stick. And now I'll bake this at 350 degrees for 28 minutes or until a toothpick stuck into the center comes out clean. There is no smell better than a freshly baked cake. I'm gonna let my cake cool now as I make my unbeatable, but you have to beat it, coconut frosting. This is my go-to American buttercream, but instead of using heavy cream in it, I'm gonna use coconut milk to amp up that coconut flavor. I'll start with 1/2 cup of softened unsalted butter, and I'll add 1 cup of powdered sugar. I'll give it a pinch of salt, and then mix this until it's creamy. I'll start it off low so that the powdered sugar doesn't go flying everywhere. And once it's starting to get crumbly, I'm gonna increase the speed to medium so that I can get smooth. Okay? And now I'll add 2 tablespoons of coconut milk and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'll mix to combine. And that is looking fluffy and good. Now I'm gonna crumble the cake directly into my bowl. The best part about cake balls is that if you have a cake that sticks to the pan, or maybe you've overbaked it and it's too dry, you can always mix it with frosting and turn it into a cake ball. You can't have a coconut cake without actual shredded coconut, so I'm gonna add half a cup of that right to the bowl as well. And I can eyeball this. At this point, it's no longer rocket science. I wanna mush it up so that the frosting helps bind all of this crumbled cake and the coconut together. And it still looks kind of crumbly in my bowl, but I know that it's ready because if I pinch a piece off and I smash it together, it holds its shape. This looks like the perfect taste. Sweet, coconutty, buttery goodness. Now to shape these into balls, I'm gonna use a 1/4 cup ice cream scoop, just so that they're all uniformly sized, and then roll it in my hands, just like this. This is going to be one dense bite of cake. But you need a heavy ball to knock down all the pins. Now I'm gonna turn my cake balls into bowling balls by giving them a white chocolate coating. So I have some white chocolate chips melting in my double boiler, and I've added some coconut oil, which thins it out and allow me to get a nice thin, even coating around the balls. This is melted and smooth. And now, because the prettiest balls of the bowling alley are always colorful, I'm gonna swirl in some blue. I'm gonna ladle out about 1/3 of a cup of my chocolate. Doesn't have to be exact. And now I'm gonna color it with some oil-based food coloring. It's important that it's oil-based and that there not be any water in the food coloring, because any bit of water that touches melted chocolate is gonna make it seize up, it's gonna ruin it. Okay, now I'll drizzle this chocolate right back into my bowl. And then I'll grab my balls. My cake balls have firmed up nicely in the freezer. I'll dunk a ball right into the chocolate, and I'll turn it so that it gets coated in the chocolate on all sides. And look at that swirly action. It looks like a marbled bowling ball. And then before it firms up, I'm gonna add 3 mini chocolate chips so that they look like the finger holes in a real bowling ball. Now I'll keep on dunking until these balls are ready to roll. These look so thick and good. No gutter balls here, just coconutty deliciousness. Today we're bowling on the farm, and I don't know why, but whenever I bowl, I have to have popcorn. So consider that box checked, but it's not what you think. I am making my snap pea and popcorn salad, which is a riff on an iconic Midwestern dish. And mine's got crunchy vegetables, tons of snappy popcorn, and it's held together with a mayo-y dressing. It's so Midwestern, so quirky, and so delicious. To get started, I'm seasoning my popcorn with some white cheddar powder, which is magic cheesy dust. Next, I'll make my dressing. This is your standard mayo-based dressing. It's sweet and creamy with a little zip. I'll get started with half a cup of mayo. And one of my honest-to-goodness favorite things about Midwestern cuisine is how many salads are held together with mayo. Next, a 1/4 cup of sour cream, which will add some fluffy sourness. And I'm just eyeballing all this in. You really can't go wrong. And you can always adjust as you go. 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, which will balance out the creaminess with some zinginess. A tablespoon of sugar for some sweetness. 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar will brighten things up. And I'll season with salt and pepper. I'll whisk this together. Popcorn salad is one of those classic Midwestern dishes that you would often find in a potluck. And it's typically made of veggies, popcorn, and mayonnaise. I know some people who put fish in theirs. And you don't think it's gonna work, but then you taste it and it's really good. This dressing is smooth. Oh yeah, that's good. Really nice and sweet. Next, I'll slice up a shallot. This will add some crunch and sweetness. I'll add this right to the bowl, and then I'll grab my remaining veggies. I've got shredded carrots, snap peas, and celery, and I'll dump my carrots right in. Lots of color in this salad. I'm gonna rip off these celery leaves because these will be pretty on top of the salad. So I'll reserve these. And then I'll slice up the stalks. I'll add these in. And lastly, I'll chop up some snap peas, which are sweet and so fresh. I'll chop these into thirds so that you can have big bites of crunchiness. I'll add these to the bowl. And then I'll get the veggies coated in the dressing. Oh yeah, look at all those colors. And now the best part, I'll fold in the popcorn. Whenever I make this salad, I have to make extra popcorn so I can snack on it while I'm cooking. I love that cheesy seasoning. The texture of the popcorn in this salad is so weirdly good. I just can't get enough of it. So our friends Ashley and Seth are coming in from Fargo to bowl with us, and Seth's actually helping Nick build the bowling lane, which is great because he is a legit carpenter. His work is beautiful. This is nice and combined. I'll save the rest of this popcorn for Nick. I'll dump this into my serving bowl. I'll just pile it in. This is gonna look so fun on the table. And then to finish it, I'll top it with my reserved celery leaves and a pile of watercress. The watercress will add a peppery kick and just a beautiful pop of green on top. I'll chop off the stems. I'll pile on the full leaves. And then my celery leaves. See, it looks like you're gonna get a salad, but you look underneath and you see a pile of popcorn. That is my kind of salad. I'm gonna taste it. And this is a salad that you eat with a spoon. That is like crunch on crunch on crunch. And I love the white cheddar powder in there. This salad is gonna crunch. I mean, crush at our party. Nick and our friend Seth are busy building a custom bowling alley in the shop right now. So I'm making my sloppy joes, which are warm and comforting, and I'm serving them in a pita, so they're a little less sloppy and you don't get your bowling hand messy. To get started, I'm heating up some olive oil and I'm gonna add a chopped onion and chopped red bell pepper. Good sizzle. This onion will add a perfect touch of sweetness. I'll add a pinch of salt, and that's gonna help my vegetables soften. I'll stir this around. As these continue to cook, I'll chop up some garlic. I'm gonna finely chop this, and I like kind of a lot of garlic in my sloppy joes. And I'm also gonna add some ground cumin and paprika. And cumin adds that earthy woodiness, and paprika will add some smokiness. I'll stir this around and let the spices toast. Growing up, my mom made sloppy joes all the time, and now I see why. They come together so easily. You've got veggies and protein in one handheld dish, and you get to say sloppy. I can't wait for my friends to eat these. Vegetables are looking and smelling good. I'm gonna grab my ground turkey now. And I'm using ground turkey because it's what my mom always used. And it's also a bowling reference. Because, you know, if you get 3 strikes in a row, you get a turkey. Okay, I'm gonna season my turkey. And then I'll cook this, breaking it up with my spoon until it's browned all over and in bite-sized pieces. I love how one pot this meal is. As this finishes up cooking, I'm gonna add some harissa paste, which is a smoky pepper paste that I just love. These sloppy joes are actually heavily inspired by my shakshuka sauce, which is a fiery tomato sauce. And Believe me, I thought about calling these slop shuka. I'll spare you. I'll stir this around. I'll add some tomato paste. I'll add 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. And then I'll bring it all together with a can of crushed red tomatoes. And I'll stir it and allow these flavors to mingle and meld together. I'll get some black pepper in here. And while this simmers, I'm gonna chop up some preserved lemon. And these are just lemons cured with salt, giving them an extra concentrated and bright flavor. And I'll add these right in. Let me take a taste before I put everything together. Oh my gosh. This just explodes with flavor. The heat from the harissa, the sweetness from the sugar. I'm ready to put these pitas together. I've got my pita pockets and my toppings. I'll grab a pita pocket. These are made just using my go-to recipe, but store-bought is fine too. And I'll spoon some of the filling right into the center. See how clean this is? It's almost wrong to call them sloppy. They're more like tidy joes. And then I'll top with a few sliced pickles. I love this shade of green. And they'll add some crunchy brininess, just that nice pop on top. A sprinkle of feta, it'll be nice and salty. And lastly, some chopped fresh parsley for that beautiful pop of green. Is this the prettiest sloppy joe you've ever seen? I've got to taste it. This sloppy joe is a solid strike. Now just 2 more, and then I've got a turkey.
That's pretty good. Nailed it.
The bowling festivities are about to begin, and I'm putting together a loaded version of 2 of my favorite apps combined, my waffle fry nachos. They're covered in cheesy goodness. And I make them right before the party so that everything stays hot and fresh. To get started, I've crisped up some sweet potato waffle fries in my oven. I've got my cheese, my Fresno chilies, and refried pinto beans. And I'll just dollop the beans all over the fries. And these refried beans will add decadence and creaminess. I can't wait to eat these. Next, I'll add my cheese. And I'm just eating American cheese here because it gets ooey and gooey, and it adds that flavor of nostalgia. I secretly love it. I'll get this back into the oven so that it can melt. It'll only take a few minutes. And in the meantime, I'll slice up my chilies. Fresnos are nice because they're milder than jalapenos, and I love that pop of red color. I'll slice my scallions. Okay, I'll chop up some fresh cilantro. I think I'm smelling that cheese. Let me check on the fries. Oh, yes. Look at this blanket of melty cheese. I could eat them just like this. But first I have to dress them up for the party. I have sour cream for creaminess and tang. Next I'll sprinkle on the chilies. And next the scallions. Some olives, which will add nice brininess. Sriracha, which adds that zippy heat. And lastly, just make it rain cilantro. Here I go in for a taste. Look how cheesy that is. Here I go. The combination of the sweet potato fries and the cheese and all these gorgeous toppings is perfection.
All right, here we go.
Love it.
That looks pretty good.
Cool. Okay, who's ready to eat? I'm ready to eat. Get in here, get a plate. Take a sloppy joe pita, some popcorn salad, some sweet potato waffle fry nachos, and a bowling ball cake ball.
I have never heard of popcorn salad. It is surprisingly delicious.
That's the texture you've been missing
I
in
get it
all
now.
of your salads.
Mmm, so good. And so cute.
So when I told Molly that I was going to build a bowling alley, she was like, no way. And then I was like, Seth's helping me, and she's like, okay.
Are you guys ready to bowl?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Molly, Molly, Molly. Yeah.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Grandma would be proud.